Russians of Reddit. What do you think of Wagner's rebellion? Rue here. To be fair, I'm too tired to think literally anything of it. It all went downhill long time ago, and I can't bring myself to hope things would get better. I just want to live to see the moment when it's all over. I hope I'll get to see that day. Just seeing the question made me think of the Simpsons gag where Lisa gets a letter from her pen pal. Dear Lisa, as I write this, I am very sad. Our president has been replaced by the benevolent General Krull. All hail Krull and his glorious new regime. Sincerely. Little girl. Don't worry. If we're being watched, at least they'll see how witty and charming we are. Tongue out. Younger millennial Russian woman here. We have a saying that can be translated as a toad humping a viper. And another saying that goes, which of the two is worse? Both are worse. That's all I have to say about the situation. I live in Moscow. Bought some popcorn and just stare. Everything happening in my country for the last 2 decades is just something that most of us, and me as well, by the way, I was born when Putin was already a president, can't control. Hope to close my eyes and open them again when there will be no shit. Think can't say more because we are being watched now. I've never voted for Putin or supported his decisions. Since he invaded Ukraine, I don't care what happens to Russia anymore. All I want is for it to stop being able to start wars. After that, we can begin building something better. I appreciate any real Russian response here. But I also appreciate those who would rather not. It's better you protect yourself if you think comment could cause you harm. Stay safe and know that nobody blames you for your government. Sitting in Moscow, playing board games, waiting for tanks. Fuck Putin. Only the innocent suffer these situations. These warmongers play schoolyard games that deal in death. No regard for the toll on their citizens. Narcissistic sociopaths who don't care about anything but their fragile ego. If you describe the situation in one sentence, one bastard rebelled against another. I imagine how surprised the West will be if Prigozhin comes to power. Edit. It's a fucking circus. He turned his people back. I'm laughing like a madman because that's all I can do. I think piss days. Shit is getting weird. It could be the start of the next Russian Revolution. One question is Wagner fighting the Ministry of Defense? Or is it fighting Putin? Or more accurately, who does Putin think Wagner is fighting? Another question is, what role will nuclear weapons, Belarus, and the Chechens play in this mess? As my wife observed, when the mercenaries take up arms against their employer, things are bad. I just don't want myself and those close to me to die. Simple as. Scary. It's not a rebellion. Wagner is visiting Moscow for a special military discussion with the president. Russian, living outside Russia my whole life, but with close family in Moscow here. About as scared as I was for friends who had family in Kyiv for the family I have in Moscow. We all knew it would end badly for everyone. Normal civilians always lose in the case of war. Therefore, Russian ultranationalists are provoking Russian loyalists to engage in civil war. At what point did we enter the COD 4 timeline? I think it will give Ukraine a chance. Even if Wagner doesn't succeed or even get slaughtered, that is one less fighting force in Ukraine. Russian here. I hoped that those idiots would kill each other and no civilians, hopefully. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But Putin looks weak as fuck now, so that's a plus. I'm just wondering what the world will throw up next. I'm tired of being surprised. In general, It resembles the Kornilov revolt of 1917. I doubt anybody is going to come out and say yeah, I support the heck out of them. Prigozhin taking over could make things a lot worse. Piss versus shit. It will give Ukraine breathing room. If nothing else. Good thing. I don't think they will succeed. But I also did not think Kiev would hold out in first days of war. So, shrug. I feel very fortunate that my immediate family is across the pond right now. I by chance was a visitor in Russia during the October coup and subsequent unease. My heart broke then for the citizens with so little control over their government and arsehole billionaire cohort's enemies as it does now. I hope you all find safety and may humanity return to leadership soon. Nice try, secret police. On certain subs, videos of military convoys in Moscow have been posted. Might go bonkers. My adversary is still my adversary. I just hope that both sides have fun. Don't worry. Our KGB agents are too busy watching reruns of Chernobyl to bother with us tears of joy. Doomscrolling man. Just constant doomscrolling. I think I'm going to have a baby soon. Please, God, please, let us be okay. We have family over there and they say it's not bad at all. There are still parties going on. Weddings etc. Sometimes the reporting is probably different in the West. The Wagner group has always been one of a few select groups that Putin has used, but they have become much stronger, almost emboldened now. Unfortunately, Putin has made many bad choices the last few years besides Ukraine. They said you can never say what you're thinking or wishing though. They doubt that anything will happen in central Moscow ever. WSJ saying it's already over. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the owner of the Wagner paramilitary group, said his forces would stop their march on Moscow and return to their camps to avoid bloodshed. As the Belarusian president, Alexander Lukashenko, announced a deal to halt the armed confrontation threatening Russia. He then made the decision to cross the Rubicon to the second strongest military in Ukraine from the second strongest military in the world. Could it be that Russia's military is currently the second strongest in all of Russia? I think they just called a halt according to Associated Press. I consider piss days. Probably a multi-million-dollar deal was made and the money promptly transferred to a Swiss bank to make Wagner troops turn back. Who, then, had the Russian military coup on their June bingo card. Reddit Russians are going to be biased like Reddit users in general air bias. Not that I disagree with the bias this time. But always be aware of the bubbles we operate in. Russians may actually have a problem with Nazis now. This is a fight between two executioners for the right tool to execute the innocent. Putin's tool is a kleptocracy. Prigozhin's tool is wartime communism. I left Russia when this war started and I think there is no good outcome for Russia. But any anti-Putin movement benefits Ukraine and the civilized world. So I'm rooting for mutiny. Much like other marauders at the gates in history, Vikings, Huns, etc. It appears that a price has been negotiated and they are turning back. Kind of a shame. I was hoping to see Putin's corpse hanging from a bridge. Anyone think nukes could end up being used? Interesting. Karl Jar claims to be in Moscow, one block from the Red Square, and he claims things are quiet. A few areas have been restricted, but the locals are continuing as usual. I wonder if someone's lying.